Hey, what's up, Jeff? Quick demo video for you for your custom flagship. For those that are watching that don't know, Jeff commissioned this from me at the request of Steve Sansweet, who is the owner of Rancho Obi-Wan, which is the largest collection of Star Wars stuff in the world, right? But this is a very cool thing that's going on that Jeff was, that he was allowing me to be a part of. This is going to be auctioned off at their auction that's coming up for their 10th anniversary, and they've got a lot of different stuff going on. I posted, quite the lengthy description on my Facebook if you're interested in knowing, anything about where this saber is going. But this, Jeff, is for you. I wanted to go over this saber and then go over the functionalities so you know everything that's going on with this guy. It is installed with the Proffie V2. It's a removable battery setup. You've got the CCSabers LEDs in here for your main PCB, and then this is a 2-button setup. So your top switch here, that's your activation, if you can see that, and then your bottom switch right here is the auxiliary. This is an aluminum dual tactile switch made by my buddy Rob Sotomayor over at Sabers, and it's something that I love to use on these flagships because it works out really well. Because this is going to Rancho Obi-Wan, I kind of etched this in like a Rancho Obi-Wan theme, and then on the actual Obi-Wan as well, right? So you've got, I don't know if it's going to pick up too well in this light. I'll try my best. But if you can see that, it does have the Rancho Obi-Wan, the logo right there on that shroud. And then both sides of the windows right here and right here are the same thing. It's Obi-Wan, and then around are the words. These aren't the droids that you're looking for, and he's kind of doing his hand thing, right? So that's what's in between those two windows. And then you've got Obi-Wan right here, kind of the picture of him in the middle, and then all of the Arabesh in the background on this shroud is the Jedi code. And then there is a quote from Obi-Wan up here in Arabesh that wraps all the way around this upper ring. Just telling, see, what was the quote? I'm not going to get it word for word, but something to the effect of, you can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can imagine. So that's what that says there in Arabesh. And then around the switch section here in English, which again, apologies, it's hard to see on this video, but it says, the top line says, the Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things, and that's what takes up both of those lines right there, and it wraps all the way around, but it stops at the switch, right? So that's what we've got going on there. And then I just did kind of like an ornate theme on the handle, and then with the Jedi symbol right here in the middle, and then on each of the bump outs, if you can see that, extremely hard to see etches on camera, I know, but they are the silhouettes of Obi-Wan, which I thought were pretty cool, and they're on each of the 5 bump outs. So now we've gotten past what's going on the outside. What you want to do is open up this handle, and this is how we get to everything. Now when you open up this handle, here's your chassis. This is a clear resin chassis that I printed so that I could put some lights inside this guy. So on each side of your Proffie board, which is right here, by the way, you've got easy access to both your SD card and your micro USB slot without ever moving the board. But on each side inside the chassis, you have a 10 pixel accent strip. So one right here, and then you've got another one right here that you can kind of see in there. 10 pixels on each side. It does say Solo Sabers over here in Arabesh for me. There is a Smuggler's Outpost emblem right here because I'm part of Smuggler's Outpost. And then you got the Rancho Obi-Wan logo right here on the chassis again. And then you've got a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker right here that powers this whole thing. So let's throw a battery in. Spring side is your negative. So spring side right here is a negative side of your battery. Do not ever put your battery in backwards. It will fry the board. All right, so we'll take our battery and we'll throw it in.
With the blast shield down, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
Now, this is why I wanted a clear resin chassis, so that I could do stuff like this, and it lights up. So it's doing this obviously when the saber's off, but when we come up here and hit power, then it starts to go fast, right? Now when you tap auxiliary for blast or deflect, you can see that animation inside the chassis. So you have what's called battle mode, right? So if you hit the saber or the blade, when the saber's on, it's going to initiate blade lockup. You'll be able to see that better when I put a blade in. But for right now, when you're just looking at the chassis, you'll see that animation here in your chassis. And then it'll stay like that up until the point that you pull away from it. And then we'll turn it off just like that. We'll go through another one.
Greed can be a powerful ally.
So it's a Qui-Gon. And then I've got this kind of pulsating right when the saber's off. I really like how it lights up the whole thing. So no matter where you're looking at this guy, it's lighting up, right? Then we'll turn it on. Now I just got it running fast backwards. And then it goes to green. It goes from yellow to green because I've got the blade is green. And you can see your LEDs are lighting up in there too, right? And it'll twist off. So you do have motion controls. I just don't want to swing this guy on when I don't have the handle on. I just wanted to show you what was going on with the chassis real quick. So now we can put the handle on. There is a rubber O-ring right at the top of this guy right here, at the top of these threads, so that you can come up here and you can line up this etch exactly where it needs to go, so that this Jedi symbol right here is coming up and lined up perfectly with your switches, and everything is lined up in a row. And then that O-ring stops the handle from loosening up when you're swinging this around, right? So everything stays nice and tight. So on the swing on, you just swing on. You got a nice smooth swing. We twist off. Just like that. Now we're going to throw a blade in. It takes a 1-inch neopixel blade. Your blade retention screw is right here. That's what you want to use. You do not ever want to unscrew this guy because this is what's holding in your main PCB holder that you see right there. So don't mess with that. Only use that guy. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to use the blade retention because the blade fits in here pretty snug. All right. We're not going to get too crazy with it. I'm just showing you that everything works. So now we've got the blade in. Now that battle mode I was talking about, right? You can see that blade lock up right here. And then it goes away when you pull away from it. And then to get to your sound tracks on each sound font, you just hold down the power for 1 second and let go. While this is playing, you can turn the blade on, right? And you can do everything you're going to do with no sound or with no music. And then you do the same thing to turn it off. Hold your power down for a second and let go. So that particular font was Qui-Gon. And there's another font on here, Obi-Wan, and those are from Jesse Kirkbride over at Kyberphonic. That's from his hero package. Let's try to go backwards.
I suggest you try it again.
Only a Sith deals in
Smooth Jedi.
only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
So you could tap this slow, or you could tap it fast. You got your blade lock up.
I suggest you try it again, Luke.
This is A and H from Kyberphonic.
This time, let go your conscious self and act on instinct.
You can almost see your chassis in here. You can kind of see it flashing around, right?
Greed can be a powerful ally.
This is Stardust. Blade lock up right here. It can be hard to discern where the blade lockup is sometimes when you're looking at this NeoPixel blade on camera, but when you get it in person, it's very clear that it's only lighting up on this part of the blade. It's towards the end on this guy because this is my 28-inch test blade, but this is set up for a full-length blade, and it will be right in the middle of it, right? Just like that. Now we'll take the blade out. So that is the basic function of your saber. We'll go ahead and go through taking the battery out just so you can see how I do it. Same thing we did, but just in reverse, but we'll go over it one time, right? We'll come over here and just unscrew the handle. That's what that chassis is doing on that particular font when it's off. And when it's on. And it goes to red. I just was trying to do a little something different for each one. But come over here from the positive side, which is by your speaker, and you can pop it out with your finger just like that. And yeah, that's how you work this saber. Let me know if you got any questions. If not, this guy will go out in the mail to you tomorrow. All right, thanks, man.